Hey guys, Tony here from Dracaris. My air conditioning is running right now, and if you own a Leopard 50, you're probably missing the roar that you would normally hear from right underneath here, which is the housing for the raw water pump for the AC chiller. And that's because I replaced that Calpeda brand power hungry, super loud monster with a Mabru pump that has the same water flow and operates at about a third the volume as I measured it, and saves me about 400 watts on the electrical system. So the video that follows is going to show you the replacement process. It's really straightforward and easy, and also how I took those measurements to get those numbers on the volume and the power savings. It is definitely an upgrade that I would recommend. Okay, so I have everything on the 230 side completely shut off, and on the AC loads, which I'm told is just the 230 or 240 side, is not the 110, because all of my 110 power is inverted. So kind of a baseline here with nothing running. I'm guessing this is just what it takes to run the Quattro. Laurent would probably know best on that, but let's just call it somewhere in the neighborhood of, that's 46, let's call it 50 to 60 watts. So now let's turn on the chiller. So it looks like it jumps up to, we'll call it, that's about 1,000 watts difference, isn't it? Okay, so what I'm realizing as I'm editing this is my ability to focus on the job that I'm doing and simultaneously narrate over the top of it needs a lot of work. So let me explain what it is that I was doing here. Before I swapped out any pumps, I wanted to get a baseline reading of the stock system as it comes from the factory. And I wanted to isolate just the power draw of the water pumps in the chiller system. So the way I did that is I shut off everything on the 240 side, and it stabilized right around, call it 50 or 60 watts. I believe that's just what the Victron Quattro takes to run itself. The 110, I'm told, all the 110 volt systems, since it's inverted, those loads do not show up on the AC loads side of the Victron display. So that is only 240. So 60 when it's doing absolutely nothing. Then when I turn on the AC chiller breaker, the water pumps after a few seconds fire up before the compressor turns on. There's about 30 to maybe 60 seconds before the compressor turns on. That's where I took that reading of roughly 1,060 watts. So that should be just the draw from those water pumps, the two Calpeda pumps. So 1,060 minus the 60 that I got with nothing running nets me roughly about 1,000 watts to run those two pumps. So that's kind of my control. I want to use that as my baseline so that when I swap out the Calpeda pump for the new Mabru pump, I'll run the same test again and compare the two readings and see what type of efficiency gain I get. So I hope this explains it better than whatever that was. All right, so the pump's running, and there's our sound baseline. All right, there we go. Time to start ripping this thing apart and replacing it with a new one. All right, so the first thing to do here is to remove these hoses. Oh boy. That's gonna drain too, isn't it? Because that's too small. And that's too big. No dice. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna skip over the part where it takes me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that that hose that I'm holding does not go to the chiller. And I was thinking, wow, there was a lot of water in this chiller. I had no idea. Yeah, until I actually looked at the pump and realized, hey, wait, this is the intake side of the pump, which means this hose goes to the seacock that I never closed. So, yeah, I'm a dumbass. Let's just move on. Okay. So, let's do this first, I guess. Okay. All right. Yeah, those are the expected colors. That's nice. I never do that.
Brown a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit of blue.
A little bit of ground.
No.
There we go. Yep. Okay. There's that. Nice. Okay, it's probably worth mentioning here, the Mabru pump is a 24 volt DC pump. The Calpeda pump is 240 volts AC. So when you purchase the pump from Mabru, they have a package where you get the pump and a 240 volt AC to 24 volt DC transformer. So what we decided to do was, since those leads that went to the Calpeda pump are just gonna be wired into that transformer, we just cut them rather than disconnected them. We cut them from the connection box inside the pump, left a little bit of wire there because I'm going to keep that pump on board as a backup in case the Mabru pump fails or the other Calpeda pump under the salon seat there were to fail. There'll be a little bit of wire left there. I don't have to remember which wire goes where because there's a little piece of it. So that's why we were cutting those wires. Anyway, the next step in the process is to mount and wire up the transformer. All right, yeah, let's get the right size.
Don't want to go too.
That's too small. How about this one?
Yeah,
That looks right. Yeah, because once this grabs, it just grabs. Do I like this position? Do I like this location? Let's go dead center. These will go out that hole. It will not interfere with the cover. There's already a hole at this height, so I'm not doing anything new or
There's
different.
nothing on the back. There's just some insulation on the back. This needs to come through.
Yeah, that's got to go
Through that.
all the way through. Oh, let's see, where's the vacuum?
It's up.
Yep. Okay. So this is input. So clearly I need to add camera positioning to the list of things that I desperately need to work on. My body was in the way for most of that last shot and completely blocked all of the electrical connections. It is a very simple, straightforward process on that transformer. As we were looking at it, the left-hand side is the 240 volt AC in side, and from that side are 3 leads. There are brown, blue, and green, just like you would expect. Those match up perfectly with what is on the boat. So it's simply a matter of matching those colors up, joining them with some type of connector. I think I used butt connectors, and then shrink wrapped everything. On the output side of that transformer, on the right as we were looking at it, that's the 24 volt DC out. That's a black and red conductor. Matches perfectly, obviously, with the motor. So we just bring the leads from the motor through, match them up, and connect them in the same way. So once that is done, pretty simple and straightforward. Wish I'd had the video to show it, but whatever. And now it's just a matter of getting the motor mounted in the position of the old one, and then the plumbing connected. All right, so this is a bit of a sanity check moment here. I'm just looking at this pump and it's so small, and I'm just thinking, my gosh, is this really the pump? Let's see if I can get the lighting right here. I know the pump I ordered. I don't remember exactly the model, but like, did they give me the right pump? It just seems awfully small. So I see here that it's showing 76.6 liters per minute. Yeah, 76.6 liters per minute. So, go back to the Calpeda pump. And the Calpeda here says 4.8 cubic meters per hour. Well, why would they make it easy? So, we got to go liters to cubic meters, hours to minutes. And we take, there's 1,000 liters in a cubic meter. 1,000 liters in a cubic meter. That makes sense. So that would be 4,800 liters per hour. And if we take, so now we're in liters, at least we've got a common unit of liters. So now we just have to go from hours to minutes. So 4,800 divided by 60. 48 divided by 6 is 8. So 80. That's 80 liters per hour max. And yeah, the other one was 76.6. So, all right, sanity check checks out. All right, so now that we've got everything wired up and heat shrunk, now it's just a matter of getting the pump installed. So let's do the intake hose first. That's on. And hose clamp. Tighten ratchet. With the rusted ratchet that doesn't ratchet until it's a little bit tight. You know, considering this is below the water line,
Should have two, but
it should be double clamped. Alright, and then we have this line from, or to the AC. There we go. But it does have a barb on it, so.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it sits naturally.
Yeah. That's,
Looks like a win to me.
now we just put this under here
Yep.
like so, and then just pre-drill right through. Bam,
Yeah.
done. Do
All right,
one, put a
let's-
bolt in.
Yeah, let's get,
Here's the bit.
oh, I think we missed that piece, but
I can just pretend at the end.
yeah, we could pretend.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so we got the transformer mounted with boat power. This went from the, went to the original pump. So that's the 240 in. Here's the 24 volts out, which goes out there and into here. And to the pump, which we've mounted. I thought I was recording, maybe I was, we'll find out later. Onto a some hose with some through bolts and rubber washers on both sides to minimize vibration. And yeah, I can't believe how much smaller that thing is. Let's fire it up and see what it does. All right, so this pump is running and it is nearly silent. As I'm standing here, the most noticeable sound is the Victron, all the Victron stuff in there that's cooling. I hear those cooling fans. With the AC on, you would have never heard it. And then Blake already checked, but let's run outside and see the water flow under the boat. Well, that looks and sounds normal. So I'm happy with that. Alright, so I've got the decibel meter running now, which is now picking up my voice more than anything else. And there's what we have. That's really incredible. Wow. So I think those audio clips do a great job of demonstrating the audible difference in the pumps. I mean, the Mabru pump is just so much quieter than the Calpeda pump. It's kind of ridiculous. Even just a free decibel meter app on the iPhone was showing a 15 decibel difference. And so 15 decibels equates to about a 32-fold increase in or decrease, I guess, in sound pressure level. And I think that I remember that a 10-fold increase or change in sound pressure level will double or half the perceived volume to your ear. So here, all I can say is the thing's darn quiet. It changes life on the boat significantly. Here in the salon, you don't have that constant roar coming from the porthole. Even in the owner's cabin, you can tell the difference. So I am super happy with the volume level of the Mabru pump. I've had it running for a couple of months. I've had my AC on constantly for a couple of months here in St. Petersburg, and it works perfectly, super quiet, haven't had any issues. Can't recommend highly enough. The power savings, well, I've got some data for that too. So 600 and call it 70 watts. Okay, so tested under the same conditions as we did kind of our control test where we powered off the system, let us kind of stabilize at that 50 or 60 watt, call it baseline draw, and then just turn on the chiller and notice how much power is being consumed by just the pumps. With the standard 2 Calpeda pumps, that was right around 1,060, net out the 60, so 1,000 net watts for those 2 pumps. This is stabilizing at around 670, let's call it watts, net out the 50 or 60, so call it 600, 610-ish. The difference between those two is 390 to 400 watts. We use 400 for easy math. So 400 watts difference over an 8-hour night. I run my air conditioning at night. 400 watts times an 8-hour night, that's 3,200 watt hours. I have a 1,800 amp hour lithium ion bank, so 1,800 amp hours times 12 volts is 21,600 watt hours. And I'm saving, what did I say? 3,200 watt hour? Yeah, 3,200 watt hours a night of 21,600. What's the math there? 3,200 divided by 21,600, 14.8. I'm saving 15% of my battery capacity over the course of an 8-hour night or an 8-hour day if you're running it through the day, whatever. It's a massive savings. It takes a significant amount of generator time or solar to put back in 15% capacity into the battery. So for me, this is an absolutely no-brainer decision. The sound benefit is worth it in and of itself. I think this system from Mabru, I'd have to go find the receipt, but off the top of my head, I think for the pump, the transformer, and a couple of fittings straight from them because it was easy, $600 and change, I think, something along those lines. For the sound and the improvement in quality of life aboard the boat, just with noise, totally worth it. And then you add on top of that the savings on your electrical system and how much time you got to run a generator to get power back into the batteries. 15%, that's a significant amount. I highly recommend the upgrade. I think it's a fantastic idea. I couldn't be happier. It's been running for a couple of months now and not an issue. And now I have a spare pump. That old Calpeda pump is a backup. So if the Mabru dumps, well, I've got the original Calpeda for that. Or if the other Calpeda pump goes out, I have a spare. So if you're like me and you follow the adage, what is it? 2 is 1, 1 is none on a boat, and your air conditioning is important to you. If you're gonna buy a spare pump, I wouldn't buy a spare Calpeda. I'd buy the Mabru and install it like I did. And that was my logic anyway. I'm gonna have a spare, so I'm gonna buy the Mabru, install it, and use it and enjoy it. And if either one of those two goes out, then I've got an extra pump that I can replace it with. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. It's kind of fun making these videos. The editing is kind of a neat little project for me. I think what I value most is hoping that the information is of value to somebody else. So if it is to you, write a comment, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Or subscribe to the channel or something. I think I have like 20 subscribers or something. So maybe somebody will see this, maybe they won't. But yeah, if it's valuable to you, I'd appreciate it. And if you got any questions, shoot me a comment or an email or something. I'll be glad to share any knowledge that I have, or if I've done something stupid and you know it, definitely let me know, because I'm open to learning as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. And how the measurements, decided that the Mojo replaced the pump. Bleh, bleh. I'm also told, and yeah. Just those 2 water pumps. Really? Yeah, the holes are... Then when I actually looked at the pump, of course I get a text, damn it. So, yeah. Bleh. We decided to just cut those. Like, why do I get texts all the time? Bullshit texts. System. Mojo. Go on the... from the to the Calpeda, no, to the Mabru pump. So yeah, make the electrical connections. Okay, so let's add. Oh, why am I talking so high? That I was making the electrical connections. And why so many ums? Why? The